Fear, it's a word that holds weight, a force that can either protect us or imprison us. It whispers doubts, erects barriers, and keeps us from stepping into the greatness we're capable of achieving. But fear, as intimidating as it seems, is nothing more than an illusion we can dismantle with the right mindset and actions. To begin, let's understand what fear truly is. Fear is not a monster in the dark. It's a signal, a message from your mind and body telling you there's something important on the horizon. Fear only grows when we resist it, when we let it fester in the quiet corners of our thoughts. But here's the truth, fear is a reaction, not a reality. And just like any reaction, it can be changed, redirected, and transformed. Fear is an incredibly powerful force. It has the capacity to paralyze us, to hold us back from pursuing our dreams and aspirations, and to prevent us from truly realizing our fullest potential. But what if I told you that, despite its formidable nature, we possess the intrinsic power to overcome, to transform our relationship with fear, and ultimately to diminish its grip on our lives? At its core, fear is a natural response, a signal from our minds and bodies alerting us to potential danger. It's a survival mechanism that has served us well for millennia, keeping us safe from harm. But in today's world, fear often extends beyond life-threatening scenarios. It seeps into our decisions, relationships, and dreams, manifesting as self-doubt, procrastination, or the avoidance of challenges. Once you understand your fear, the next step is to challenge it. Ask yourself, is this fear rational? Is it based on facts? Or is it a story I've told myself? More often than not, our fears are exaggerated versions of reality. They're worst-case scenarios our minds conjure to protect us from discomfort. But discomfort is not the enemy, it's the birthplace of growth. When you confront fear with logic and perspective, it begins to shrink. To embark on this journey, we must first recognize that fear is a natural, instinctive human response. It is hardwired into our brains, serving as a protective mechanism that is designed to keep us safe from harm and danger. However, in our contemporary world, many of the fears we encounter are not rooted in immediate threats to our survival. Instead, they often arise from our insecurities, our past experiences, and the uncertainties that loom over our futures. In order to effectively remove fear from our lives, we must first learn to identify and acknowledge it for what it truly is, a feeling, an emotional response, rather than an absolute fact. Acknowledge your fear. The first step to removing fear is to acknowledge it. Too often, we try to suppress or ignore our fears, hoping they will fade away on their own. But fear thrives in the shadows of avoidance. By naming your fears and understanding their origins, you bring them into the light, where they lose much of their power. Ask yourself, what am I truly afraid of? Is it failure? Rejection? The unknown? Once you pinpoint the source, you can begin to address it head-on. By denying or suppressing our fears, we inadvertently grant them more power over us, allowing them to fester and grow. I urge you to take a moment to reflect on the specific fears that you carry. Is it the fear of failure that haunts you? The fear of rejection from those you hold dear? Or perhaps the fear of the unknown that lurks in the shadows? Write these fears down. By bringing them into the light, we begin to strip them of their overwhelming power. Understand the source. Once we have acknowledged our fears, the next crucial step is to delve into their origins. Understanding the root causes of our fears can significantly diminish their hold on us. Ask yourself probing questions. What past experiences have contributed to this fear? Are these fears grounded in reality, or are they instead based on assumptions and untested beliefs? Often, upon closer examination, we discover that our fears are exaggerated or even unfounded. By dissecting our fears and analyzing their origins, we begin to view them through a different lens, one that diminishes their impact on our lives. Reframe your perspective. With a clearer understanding of our fears, we can start to reframe our perspective on them. Rather than viewing fear solely as a barrier that obstructs our path, we can choose to see it as an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Each fear we confront presents a unique chance to learn something new about ourselves, to expand our horizons, and to build resilience. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is the conscious decision to move forward in spite of it, to embrace the challenges that life presents. The power of perspective. Fear often stems from how we perceive a situation. A setback can feel like a disaster, and uncertainty can feel like a threat. But what if you reframe these moments? Instead of viewing challenges as insurmountable obstacles, see them as opportunities to grow. Failure isn't the end, it's a stepping stone toward success. Rejection isn't personal, it's redirection toward something better. By shifting your perspective, you shrink the hold that fear has over you. Take small steps. It is essential to recognize that the journey to overcoming fear is not a sprint. It is a gradual process that unfolds over time. Start by taking small, manageable steps toward what frightens you. For instance, if public speaking induces anxiety, begin by practicing in front of a mirror, gradually progressing to sharing your thoughts with a small group of friends. Each successful step you take will bolster your confidence and diminish the hold that fear has on you. Another crucial tool in overcoming fear is action. Fear feeds on inaction and hesitation. The more we delay, the larger and more intimidating our fears become. But when you take even a small step forward, when you act despite the fear, you diminish its grip. It's like walking into a dark room. The longer you wait at the door, the scarier it seems. But the moment you take that first step and switch on the light, the fear dissipates. The importance of resilience. Fear often tries to convince us that we're not strong enough, capable enough, or brave enough. But resilience is the antidote. Remind yourself of the times you've faced difficulties and emerged stronger. Build a reservoir of inner strength through habits like mindfulness, physical exercise, and self-care. The more resilient you are, the less sway fear will have over you. Another powerful tool is visualization. Close your eyes and imagine yourself overcoming the very thing you fear. Picture the moment when you stand victorious, unshaken, and proud. This mental rehearsal trains your mind to associate fear with triumph rather than defeat. Visualization is not just daydreaming, it's preparation. When you see yourself succeeding, you're more likely to take the steps needed to make it a reality. Anchor yourself in the present moment. Fear often stems from future-focused worries. What if this happens? What if I fail? But the present is rarely as terrifying as the scenarios we create in our minds. Use mindfulness to ground yourself. Focus on your breath, your surroundings, or the task at hand. The more you anchor yourself in the now, the less space fear has to roam. Surround yourself with support. Remember, we are not alone in our struggles. It is vital to surround ourselves with a network of supportive friends, family members, or mentors who encourage us to face our fears head-on. Sharing our experiences and fears with others can provide comfort, perspective, and valuable insights. Together, we can cultivate an environment where vulnerability is embraced and courage is nurtured, allowing us to support one another on our journeys. It's also important to remember that you are not alone. Practice mindfulness and self-compassion. As we navigate the path to removing fear, we must also cultivate the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to remain present, to observe our thoughts without judgment, and to recognize that fear is merely a transient emotion. Coupled with self-compassion, we can learn to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding when we experience fear, acknowledging that it is a shared human experience that connects us all. Embrace failure as a teacher. Let us shift our perspective on failure, embracing it as a valuable teacher rather than viewing it as a foe. Many of our fears are rooted in the fear of failing. However, failure is not the end of the road. It is a stepping stone on the path to success. Each failure provides us with invaluable lessons that bring us closer to our goals. By altering our relationship with failure and seeing it as a necessary part of growth, we can significantly diminish the fear that holds us back. Many of our fears are rooted in the desire for control over outcomes, over others, and over life itself. But the truth is, there will always be variables beyond our control. By accepting this and focusing on what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your effort, you free yourself from the unnecessary burden of fear. In conclusion, I want to emphasize that removing fear from our lives is a journey, a process of self-discovery and growth, not an overnight transformation. It requires awareness, understanding, and deliberate action. But I stand here today to remind you that this journey is indeed possible. As we work together to dismantle our fears, we will unlock the doors to our fullest potential. Let us face our fears with courage, embrace the unknown with open hearts, and step boldly into the future that awaits us. So, The next time you feel fear creeping in, take a deep breath and say, "I see you, but you don't own me." Move forward with courage, knowing that on the other side of fear lies freedom.